All right, everyone. So, we always talk about being time and efficient with your time and what to do and how to go about it. So I wanted to talk about tours today. This is something that's often overlooked by a lot of people as far as training how to set up a tour. It sounds like very simple. I'm just going to call up and set up a time and appointment. But it's a little bit more than that. Realistically speaking, a couple things that you want to take into account because you want to also look at your business. Number one, if you're touring into like a downtown business district or a central business district where there's a lot of traffic, you want to make sure that your tours are arranged around those traffic times. So this way you have ample time to get to the different properties and you're able to see them and look at them. So keep that in mind as far as just setting the times when to tour. But also then you're going to map it out before you actually set the tour. What you're going to do is and I would probably keep the tour to 6 to 8 properties at most, because once you look at so many properties, they kind of meld into each other and your client's going to get tired and not really remember the first one by the time you get to the last one. So let's say you have 6 properties that you're going to be touring. First thing you're going to do is put them in order of the traffic flow, where you're going to go, how you're going to get there, and time-wise. Then you're going to map them out, check with Google Maps how long it takes to go in between each one. Now, if you've toured with this client before, you know approximately how much time they're spending at the property, reviewing it, taking a look at it. And really, it's also going to depend on the size of the property. So, if it's a smaller property, a few thousand square feet, and they're really not going to be in that space more than 5 minutes or so. But if it's a larger property, they could take upwards of half an hour to look at the property. If you're looking at a 30, 40, 50,000 square foot space. So bear that in mind when you're timing the issues, the property. So keep in mind the time that you're going to be at the property, the time travel to the next property, and then finally how much parking, how long is it going to take for parking. So once you have that order set, then you start making the calls to confirm the times with the listing agents. All right. Now, prior to the tour, once all the tour is completely set, and one of the recommendations, one of the tricks I like to use as well, because a lot of times, especially if it's your first tour with the client, you don't know how long they're going to spend. They may spend 5 minutes on a 3,000 square foot space. They may spend 15 minutes, and that could throw off your entire schedule. So what I like to do is if I can get a lockbox or combination or a property manager's contact to a property and give them a window approximately when I'm going to be there. And I'm going to use that as a filler in case there are last minute cancellations, a listing agent can't make it and open the door to show the space to you, or whatever the case may be. So this way you can actually take the property that you have as a backup and go to that property and open it up with the lockbox, take a look at it so your tour is not messed up. It should preferably be centralized within the tour itself so you're not doing that much backtracking. Okay, so arrange those tours. You're typically looking at, even if they're spending 5-10 minutes between at the property, you're probably looking at about 20 to 30 minutes in between properties, depending on how far apart they are on the tour. Next step for an agent is to understand everything about the property as much as you can. And what I mean by that is a lot of times when your clients are going through it, you want to know the answers and preferably without looking at the sheets. How much parking spaces are there? Where's the metro? What's in the community? What's going to bring? Why should they want to lease at this location? Are there a lot of restaurants? Are there other businesses moving in? What's going on within that community itself? And then understand the property itself. If you're doing office leasing, what's the load factor on this property? What's the parking? Not just the parking rate, but how many parking spaces does the building have? Is it underparked? Is it overparked? And therefore has, ability to expand into. Okay. Lastly, rental rates, of course, and terms, what they're kind of looking for. Talk to the brokers when you're setting up the tours. Ask them information about the property. What is the landlord looking for? What's their motivation? What's going on? So you can convey all this information to your client and add value during that tour. Lastly, I do like to print one sheet of each property to give to my client so that they can write the notes directly on that property, preferably with a picture. This way they can have a reminder as far as what they looked at. They can look at their notes and realize what the property is and bring it to mind, as opposed to just going on a tour and they write their notes, and a lot of times they'll forget which property those notes attach to, because after you see 6, 8, 10 of those in a day, they kind of blend together again. So be as organized as possible. Consider your time when you're arranging the tours. And then in addition to that, know the information on the property, all properties that you're going to be touring, everything that you're going to know about it. Last tip, if you don't have it already, make sure you have the cell phones of every agent that you're meeting, just in case they're late or you're late. Proper etiquette would be, if I'm running late, I'm letting the listing agent know that I'm 5-10 minutes behind. Please wait for me. Keep them up to date so that they're not guessing, are you showing up or are you not showing up? The professionalism carries a long way when it comes to the negotiation if your client decides that they want that property. Same goes for if you're at the property, you can let them know ahead, we're here now, or maybe even if you're running ahead of schedule and you're trying to fit them in. Easy to do if you have their contact information. So essentially, that's everything you need to know about setting up a tour to maximize your time and your client's time as well. So, any questions?